let's get stuck into it. You know, there's an old Ray Charles song, maybe you've heard of it, with the uplifting little title, "If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all." And I wonder if when he gets home at night from a hard day on the non-campaign campaign trail, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, who is, of course, as we all know, a big music fan, ever spins that track, maybe accompanied by a glass of something a little stronger than the craft beers his electorate is so famous for. Because, think about it, this guy, Anthony Albanese, well, he simply cannot take a trick. Look, when we launched this program last week, we all thought that there was a pretty good chance he would have called the election that very weekend. Then, when that didn't happen, the smart money was that he would have gone to Yarralumla either yesterday or today, having gotten the WA election, about which more in a moment, done and dusted. But, as they say, Tropical Cyclone Alfred is what happens when you're busy making plans. There was no way, of course, that the PM could have gone to the Governor-General to fire the starter's gun on the campaign now. For one thing, even though, thankfully, Alfred weakened substantially before making landfall, it has still left hundreds of thousands of people in Queensland and northern New South Wales without power, without communications, stranded, and with huge messes to clean up. For the people going through it, then it is still a very big deal indeed, and going out on the hustings, well, even Albo knows that's not a good idea.
I can clearly say that my focus is certainly not on votes, it's on people and it's on Australians at this difficult time, and I won't be doing anything to distract from that.
Well, good on him, but you know what? This is hardly the first time that Anthony Albanese has been the victim of bad timing. Remember the voice referendum? What was supposed to be the big signature achievement of Albanese's government got caught up in titanic events in the Middle East. The vote, you'll recall, was scheduled for October 14th, which turned out to be just a week after October 7th, when Hamas launched its all-out assault on Israeli civilians, music festivals, farms, military installations, and everything else, you name it. It was then the only news that mattered in the week between the two events, and for a long time after it as well. And the entire week that Albanese and the Voice campaigners had put together of carefully calibrated news features and expensive advertising buys were all washed away by the torrent of horrific images from the Middle East. Bad timing indeed. And bad timing has struck Albanese plenty of other times too. Sometimes self-inflicted, sometimes not. I mean, at a time when young people in particular are struggling and saying that they would skip a big fancy fun wedding if it meant that they could put more money into a house deposit, well, what was Albo's media team thinking when they thought it would be a great idea to spill the intimate beans about their wedding plans like they were some sort of bunyip aristocracy answer to Harry and Meghan? This, by the way, just after buying a $4.3 million cliff-top love shack, where the PM presumably plans to retire and tell Boar Jody stories about all those times he fought Tories. And now the WA election is in the bag, and frankly, it went pretty well for Labor. Better, frankly, than they had any right to expect. But now they can't do what they want to do, which was called an election, and instead we'll have to wait until probably May 3rd or May 10th, 8 or 9 weeks from now, when whatever boost they got from this result, as well as from the interest rate cut, well, we'll be all gone with the wind. Instead, now, the government has to focus everything on a budget, which will be difficult because my sources tell me Treasurer has been spending the past several months assuming that there wouldn't be a budget, and instead have been doing all their work costing policies for the election. Have fun, guys. But Murray Watt, well, would you believe otherwise? He says otherwise.
When it comes to the budget, what you can expect is a similar approach to what we've taken in our previous budgets. Both Jim Chalmers and Katie Gallagher have been working on this for months, this budget. You can expect a continuation of the responsible economic management that we've displayed in the last couple of years, a tight rein on spending, but also providing cost of living relief where we can to support Australians.
A tight rein on spending, did he say? My God, this is a government that's decisions in government have been somewhere on the order of $21 billion. So, you know what, Murray Watt? You do you, but when you're shoveling $11 billion out the door for housing, $7.6 billion more for the Bruce Highway, $8.6 billion for free doctors visits, $644 million for urgent care clinics, billions more for everything from bailing out Whyalla to rugby league teams for PNG, well, I would hate to see what a loose rein on spending by Labor looks like. And that's why now, when it comes to this campaign, Albo is damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. And he should have called the poll last weekend. But, as has happened so often in this government, this is what happens when you are too passive and you're on the back foot and you let events get away from you, as they have a habit of doing when you're the PM. But who knows? Maybe there's a silver lining in all this, because you know what? After such a run of bad luck, maybe he's figuring he's due for a win come May.